Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Modern Health with Dr. Jane. Of course, I'm Dr. Jane. I'm a naturopathic doctor, natural fertility expert, and I help couples get to the root cause of their infertility struggles and conceive naturally. Now, today I want to talk about another hot topic, egg quality. Egg quality, you guys, is probably the biggest kind of scare that women have, is that their eggs are spoiling and they don't, now I have to rush and I have no idea what my egg quality actually is. You can feel really discouraged and really rushed because you've been told that your egg quality is the thing that's struggling. And of course, it feels like there's no tangible data that you can track progress on. Am I like, can I get pregnant? Can I not? Is it my egg quality? Should I be rushing to get pregnant right now, or do I need to wait? So the mistakes that I see is that women then rush into treatment, whether it's IVF, egg freezing, some invasive stuff, because you feel like you are going to run out of time and your doctor told you need to do this in the next 3 months, otherwise your eggs are spoiled. And then you also start doing a bunch of things. You start searching the internet, and that kind of feeds into the frenzy. And now you start taking a bunch of supplements, the CoQ10, the N-acetylcysteine, vitamin C, B vitamins, without really knowing if that's the thing that you need. And some of you might feel like you just give up altogether. And so you live with this, oh, my egg quality is bad, and that's why I can't have babies. And then you give up on the whole journey altogether, which can feel very defeating. Now, here's what I want for you guys at the end of this episode is I want you to understand how we can actually assess egg quality. So there isn't one specific test, but there is tests that we can run to have an idea of what's going on with our eggs. We also want to go through ways that we can improve our egg quality. And then, of course, how are we going to track progress? So most of you know that we as women are born with all of our eggs. So we can't change the number of eggs that we are born with, but we can absolutely change the quality, not the quantity, the quality of the eggs. So everyone says that you can't test for egg quality. In reality, we can, because here's the thing, you guys. Our eggs are going to be a reflection of our health. And I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be a reflection as far as of your mom's health. So when I was pregnant with my daughter's ovaries and eggs were developing already. Right. So my health was going to reflect on the quality of the eggs that she has. So one of the really great books that I'm reading right now is called The Countdown by Shanna. And she talks a lot about why are we seeing such a huge decline in fertility rates? And she actually talks a lot about it from the male perspective, but of course from the female perspective. And so if I take you as far back as the exposure of toxins and chemicals that your mom, or in the health issues that your mom had when she was pregnant, and also how old your mom was and the stress levels and all of that, is going to reflect what you started with. Okay, what you started with. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't change it. I don't say that so you feel hopeless and powerless, because I see premature ovarian failure being reversed. I see, egg quality, women well into their 40s getting pregnant. So all those things are very possible, but I don't want you to underestimate what it takes. It's not about just taking some CoQ10. And it's not even sometimes about changing the diet. Like, there's so many things. If you're trying to reverse generational health issues, which are reflecting now in your poor egg quality, then there is so much more to it. And I want to be really realistic, because I don't want you to give up. And I also don't want you to give up like halfway in the process when you were really close, because again, let's shed some light on what it actually takes. So the reflection of the eggs is not just your own health, it's also your mom's health and the potential exposures that she might have had to chemicals and toxins when you were in the womb. And there's a lot of research now around this, of why we're seeing such a huge spike in increase in PCOS, endometriosis, premature ovarian failure, adenomyosis, and all these reproductive endocrine disrupting issues, because of all these chemicals and toxins that we have been exposed to at a very young age, even in the womb. And so lots of research showing how that is connected. And like I said, I say this because reversing and improving this is not going to be just taking some CoQ10. If it was the case, then everyone would just have perfect eggs as soon as they took CoQ10. So let's shed some light on this situation. First of all, before we want to really understand and jump to any conclusions, is we want to understand what's really going on. And this is where testing is going to come into play. If you've been listening to me for a while, then I sound like a broken record, but I really cannot stress this enough. Do not do treatments until you understand what's going on. We often get prescribed IVF, IUIs, and even medications without truly understanding what's happening. Women will message me and say, oh, I'm taking third round of Clomid, or I'm doing letrozole or whatever. And it's like, okay, do you know why you're not ovulating? No, I have no idea. They never asked me. They just gave me the medication. Okay, so don't you think you'd want to figure that out? You're not ovulating. That's like you not pooping. Wouldn't you want to know why your body isn't pooping instead of just taking a laxative? Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we need to take a laxative, but in reality, we're just being bandaged all these pretty intense procedures, like, taking Clomid or letrozole to stimulate ovulation is not the same as taking a laxative. Obviously, I'm just using that as a comparison, but try to stimulate ovulation. A lot of the times it's like, well, why is the body not ovulating? Is it the egg quality? Is it, the hormone function that's going on and the connection between your brain and the ovaries? Is it not safe for the body to ovulate? So the body's in fight or flight. There's cortisol, there's inflammation. Let's dig a little bit, because guess what? If you're not ovulating, that's the first sign of your body telling you that it doesn't want to reproduce. And so do you think that if we force the body to ovulate, then that pregnancy is going to be really healthy and that child is right? Sometimes, but the probability of that goes way down. So we want to really assess what's going on first. And so here's some of the tests, if you will, that can really help assess egg quality. So FSH and LH on day 3 of your menstrual cycle. If that FSH is high, especially with that LH being high, usually a huge sign of poor ovarian reserve and also poor quality eggs. If your progesterone on day 21 or about 7 days post-ovulation is very low, again, and usually under 10 if you're in the States, but ideally it needs to be 15 to 25 to 30. That's it. So if progesterone is low, that's a sign of poor quality eggs. If you have low testosterone, or if you have really high testosterone, those are signs of poor quality eggs. High testosterone is usually more associated with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And so there's lots of eggs, but they're not maturing enough. So they're going to be poor quality. Low testosterone, we literally need testosterone for the maturation of the egg. So you're going to see low testosterone, low quality egg. If you get deeper into things like inflammation, so your CRP, C-reactive protein, ESR, blood sugar elevation, liver enzymes issues, those are all signs of inflammation. Chances are your egg quality is going to be impacted by that, because inflammation will deplete nutrients. So nutrient levels of things like vitamin C, vitamin D, you can go down the rabbit hole of testing some antioxidants like vitamin E, CoQ10, and acetylcysteine. There's tests out there to actually look at those things to see if, in fact, you need CoQ10 or you just are going to take CoQ10, right? So many people are like, CoQ10 is fantastic for your egg quality. Only if that's the thing that you're missing. But if you're missing vitamin E and your CoQ10 is fine, taking CoQ10 is not going to do anything for you, but vitamin E will, right? So doing the testing is the way to understand what's going on. And then that's how it's like, when you don't do the testing and you just do the treatment, aka supplements, lifestyle, and diet, it's like putting the cart in front of the horse. You got to get that horse first and put that cart behind. And then you can get into functional lab testing. And that's where I look at the gut. I look at the environmental toxins, organic acids. There's a couple markers that can tell us about mitochondrial health. But if you have a really high toxic load, chances are your liver's overworked, your kidneys are overworked, even if those enzymes are good, but you're going to start to see inflammation in different areas of your body. So it's, there's many, many different ways to see and assess your egg quality, some through the blood, some through the stool, some through the urine. But that's always my first step is, do you actually have poor egg quality? Because I hate it when it's like, well, you're 40 years old, so your egg quality is going to be compromised. I've seen plenty of 40-year-olds with fantastic egg quality, and I've seen plenty of 20-year-olds with terrible egg quality. So it really depends on what was your life leading up to the point that you decided to have children, what the exposure you had of toxins while your mom was pregnant, and the toxic exposure of you now with just being alive on this planet. And then the function of your liver, your kidneys, and all that jazz. The next thing that you want to look at is also your symptoms. So if you have poor egg quality, there's probably going to be some mitochondrial dysfunction. I have a fantastic podcast episode on that. But the symptoms that you're going to notice is fatigue. You're going to have brain fog. You're probably going to have really low white cervical fluid production, like less than 3 days. That's a huge sign of low egg quality. You're going to have low libido. That's usually a sign of low testosterone. Poor muscle tone, maybe even some excess weight, especially around the belly that you're having a hard time losing. You might get sick easily, so there's a lot of infection and immune system isn't working well. Those are kind of the symptoms that go along with knowing if you have poor egg quality. Now, let's talk quickly about how are you going to improve it. So the first thing is you have to understand, is egg quality really the problem, and understand why is the quality of the eggs compromised. So I talk about that in my mitochondrial podcast, but the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And our eggs in your partner's sperm are literally filled with mitochondria. It's about 100,000 of mitochondria per egg, because as you can imagine, reproduction is a high energy output. And so we need a lot of energy for the whole process to go smoothly. Now, that mitochondria is either producing energy, making you hormones, hydration, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, cortisol, or it's in battleship mode, meaning it's fighting infections, toxins, parasites, environmental toxins, heavy metals, mold, you name it. And so if we have poor gut function, well, we got to assess the gut, and we got to look at what's going on in the gut. If we have heavy metals, well, we need to optimize function of the liver and the kidneys and the gut. And then we got to help pull out some of these toxins. We probably need to clean up our environment and understand where are these things coming from. You probably will have to detox. You have to detox for an extended period of time. It's not just a 2-week cleanse, and it's not just jumping into giving yourself diarrhea. It's understanding how detoxification process works in the body and doing it step by step with a guided professional if you truly want to get to the root cause of improving egg quality, right? And then, of course, you're going to track it. So whether it's blood work, the blood work and assessments that I talked about, I literally see FSH and LH decrease, right? So in 3, 5 months, 6, 9 months time, whatever, we start to see those numbers go down. We see progesterone go up. We see nutrient levels go up. We see testosterone improve, whether it's go down or go up. You could see if you're moving on the right track, you could see those things improve. And then, because you can't just like look at your ovaries and say, okay, here we go, my egg quality improved. But you can look into those markers, and if they're improving, then that it's a good sign that the egg quality is improving. And then, of course, there's things like your energy is improving, your libido is improving, you're losing weight, you can put on muscle, your white cervical fluid production is really increasing. You should have 5 to 7 days of good white cervical fluid production. If you need lube to have sex in your 30s, I know that you have issues with egg quality and hormone production, period. I see people advertising that for sex with your partner when you're trying to conceive. And it's like, what are you talking about? That should be when white cervical fluid production should be so abundant in into your mid 20s and early 30s and mid 30s, even like that's the only thing that should slow down when you're in menopause. So women who need lubrication in your 30s to have sex is a sign that you're not making enough white cervical fluid. And guess what's that a problem of? Your egg is not maturing, right? That follicle isn't maturing. We need to track those things so you become more aware and more in tune instead of feeling rushed. Now, let's talk about the time crunch. So I know that a lot of women will message me and it's like, oh my God, my doctor said I need to do it, so I'm going in tomorrow. If you give yourself 3 to 6 months, you can optimize your egg quality and what you're going to pull out if you do decide to go with, like, let's say egg freezing or even IVF. What you do in that 3 to 6 months will have like the benefits of that. I can't even express it versus you going in right now. So 3 or 6 months time, your eggs are not going to spoil. If you smoke, drink, don't do anything, like sure. But if you start reversing the processes, what I'm talking about, like improving your diet, your lifestyle, taking supplements, starting to detox, using red light therapy, saunas, whatever it is that you need to do in your journey, then the amount of eggs that you can retrieve. And, in my world, I help couples conceive naturally. It's like, we just get so much closer to actually conceiving naturally because we're tracking that progress. And of course, you feel better. But 3 months is not going to make a difference in terms of your egg spoiling, but it is going to make a difference in terms of improving your egg quality. And so it's not so much about how much time you have left, it's what you do with that time. And I talk about that pregnancy over 35, pregnancy in your 40s, freezing your eggs. That's all really, really important. It's not about how much time you have left, it's what you do with that time. Now, I want you to be aware of the time that you have, but I also want you to use that time strategically. That means people always say, I'll do anything to conceive, but I don't like these supplements are too expensive, or I can't afford to do this, or the red light therapy, I can't keep doing it, or right? Like we all end up making these. So just be honest with yourself. What am I really willing to do? And what is in my budget? What is in my mental and emotional capacity and in my lifestyle that I can change? But just know that you're never maxing it out. You're never maxing it out. It's impossible. There's so many things that we could be doing. I urge you to take the time to prepare and to give yourself time to improve your egg quality, because it's not just your health. It's literally like the next generation. And what you're like, think about what I said, me being pregnant with my daughter. It's her ovaries and her eggs developing when I'm pregnant with her. And the exposures that I have to things during that time is really important. And so it's when you take the time to prepare the DNA, and your partner should be doing it as well, if obviously you're looking to conceive together versus like you're just looking to freeze your eggs, you're literally changing like the vitality, the energy, and the essence that you're going to give to your kid. And I think that's really powerful. So it's not about this 3 short month time. It's like, what are you doing? And what is the repercussions of that long term? And they're really big. They're really big. I used to work with kids because I was like, man, if we can set up kids for success, then they're going to be healthy all of their life. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I think it actually happens when you're pregnant. Like if women during pregnancy can be really healthy and do all this stuff, then we can really set kids up for success. And then it turns out you can't really do a lot of stuff with pregnancy. You can just support the woman, but if she's going to have thyroid issues or blood sugar issues or whatever, there's very little we can do. It turns out it's actually way before she gets pregnant. Right. So one of my whole things that I've been talking about is let's create generational health. And what does that actually look like? Oh, that looks like figuring out your own stuff first and understanding the environment that you are in and how it impacts your health. So if you can understand that and take a look at, okay, what is really going on for me here? And do I have something to worry about? Or am I just being a little bit anxious and overwhelmed? Or maybe I need to get another opinion, or maybe I need to, roll up my sleeve and get down to work and reassess my lifestyle in that. I'm not sure what the path is for you, but let's not set the bar as low as I just want to get pregnant. The bar is like, hey, I want to create generational health, and I don't want my kid to struggle through the things that I've struggled through in terms of my health. And how can I help them prevent that? Well, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself first, so then you can teach that skill and you can catch it when it's starting to develop early, right? Because it's not like my kids don't get sick, but I know exactly what they need to do when they have digestive distress, or when they have an ear infection, or when they're tired. It's all these things are really, really, we can catch them a lot sooner. And it truly does start with the egg and the sperm. And so it takes time. And that means it starts with you. So I hope you guys find it helpful. If you feel really lost and confused and you want some help and guidance in improving your egg quality and understanding if that's something that's confusing, and sperm quality, because I do work with partners, go ahead and apply for my program, my Maximize Your Fertility program, and I'll get back to you once I review the application. Otherwise, I hope you guys found it helpful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking the episodes. Send me any questions that you have through the DM in my Instagram. I'm very active there. And one of the reasons that I made this podcast is because lots of you are asking questions about egg quality. So I hope you find it helpful. Let me know if there's anything else, and I see you guys next week.